Hello friends and welcome to the channel. I am Handington, and for some reason my voice is going a little bit today. So my voice is a little bit off, but I wanted to do a little quickie episode, something rather fast. I didn't realize this was an event. I thought this was just the Grand Champions League still. The Grand Champions sampler, just like a platter of delicious other sampler foods. Like an appetizer sampler, except for Cookie Run missions. It's for the Grand Champions League. So there's the actual stages, and then there are sampler stages. So I was playing through this a little bit, and then I realized, wait a minute, I should record this because I was doing it in my downtime to relax, and I realized I should be doing this to be productive. Wait a minute, hold on a moment. That wasn't the combi I was using. I was using you. Yes. Oh yes, these are the combis that I have. Technically that's not true anymore for the meta, but I don't care. Then over here is money, 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 and then must be funny. Back before they had easier ways to level grind for money, I would use them daily, and that's how I'd get money early on in the game. This is before, of course, you know, they had the other breakout sessions where you'd be able to, like the money breakouts. But that's what I would use, so I've still kept them around as making an ABBA reference. Anyway, so yes, I've been using them, and they've been working pretty well. Coco is still reasonably powerful, even at this point in the game, which I'm glad. There she is. So I've been using her, because the skills it's been pretty strong. So, yes, I have an excuse to use Coco, because she's still actually pretty good with her abilities. I'm very happy with the buff that they gave her. Yay! But this is the sampler. Look at all the hors d'oeuvres we're enjoying. The yummy, delicious hors d'oeuvres. Good. Now, in the last episode that I had done reading the cutscenes, it did really well. A lot of people came by and watched it. People had commented they seemed to enjoy it. It got more dislikes than videos typically will, so if there's any issue that you folks have with these, please make sure to let me know so I can try and fix something. The only thing I could probably think of is I just wasn't taking it too seriously and people didn't like that. And I know sometimes I'll read the cutscenes and I won't be super serious. I enjoy just being very silly sometimes and just not taking it very seriously. I am very stressed out with all the stuff that I'm balancing, so sometimes I like to just have fun, even though, and just be weird, take it to different places, but like, because it's only one small chunk of my life, but in terms of the window that you all get to see into my life, pretty much all of you don't get to see me on the other end of these, and so I'm always a little worried if I say things wrong in the moment or I'm very awkward. And I've been trying to work on that because I am a fool. I am very awkward and I mess up a lot of stuff and whatnot. So please let me know if I do something a little off. I will think about trying to do the cutscenes a little bit more straightforward. Not be as weird. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I like when it goes to a weird place, sometimes I don't. It's just all kind of part of the improv. So I will try and be a little bit more careful, because I do really love this game, and I really enjoy all of the work that goes into it. There's so much work goes into every weekly update now, it's amazing. I'm so happy that the game has grown so much. It's so weird, though. It used to be just a little game that nobody knew about, and now everybody does. Well, at least in the United States, a lot of people hadn't really known too much about it. Now it's a lot bigger, and now there's a much wider audience, and that's really awesome. I love it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy they're doing well enough to be able to make this game like as good as it can be. Not every game gets that experience, or that chance rather. And I really love it. So even when I'm very stupid when I'm doing things, I just want to let you know that like I usually I like to try and be reverent of stuff, and if it's something, if I'm playing a bad game, I love bad games. I love when a game does something dumb and stupid. You know how hard it is to make games? Like, it's insane. So even during when I play bad games, I love a certain magic that they have to them, because it's just like it's a little miracle that this happened at all. Um, so like if I end up riffing on Cookie Run, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I think it's a really great game. I do think there are some issues here and there. There are some flaws. Dev Sisters themselves have some flaws here and there. It's not enough for me to really hate them, especially when you hear about companies that are like really, 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 really bad. Like, does anybody else watch Illuminati? She makes really good videos, and you hear about all of those MLMs and even big companies that are just very shady, and then you see Dev Sisters, and it's like they're really bad at addressing controversy sometimes, and a couple of other things that aren't always the best that they do, and it's just like, yeah, I think a lot of companies unfortunately have some have their mistakes, but it's just like when you compare it to those companies and you see all the effort that they put into not only the product that they have and how much they care about the employees working for it. Like, you hear about how so many games that turn out so bad, and it's due to just how horribly rushed they are and how much the employees are like tortured and everything just to get everything done. And I imagine the team works very hard on this game as well, but it's like it's still pretty cool. It's still pretty cool what they're able to do and still manage, like, being able to keep up with like the fan base and everything. So it's like there are so many levels of bad that this game really it's not those. So at least in my mind, I'm okay with it, where it's just like it's important to acknowledge flaws, but like it's not enough for me to end up really hating anything. But I will still poke fun at things here and there just because I think it's important, um, to be able to notice those things, so that this way going forward, um, you can make the best thing that you're able to make. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I would hate it or have any issues with it. I love it. I love this game very much, and I think it's so much effort and talent goes into making every part of this game. There's so much extra little charm and detail to it that they don't have to add, but they do, and it's wonderful. And like I wanna respect that, but at the same time, there are some days where it's just like I like this game and I just want to be silly like I do with some other games that I will already know about. Because a lot of the time I will take games very seriously. Um, but like for the channel and everything, I like to be silly and add my own different flair to it. Um, so this way it feels a little bit more unique. And I just like stuff that I enjoy. I just think it's fun. So if people had been upset because of me just not being super reverent, I apologize for that. Um, I'm not going to compromise who I am, but I will keep in mind, like, uh, to be a little less irreverent, I guess, where it's just like, oh, look at this, it's a thing. Um, I mean, that's not a good example. I don't know what. I, there, I know what I'm talking about, but I can't think of an example of it. But like, I will, I will do my best to try and deliver on something that's fun. I'm not always able to make stuff that's better, just due to excuse me, the constraints both in my schedule and, the fact that I don't always have the ability to record everything. It's rather difficult for me to be able to do that at all, unfortunately, due to my home situation, uh, which I also have decided I'm going to try and talk less about, because I don't want pity, and I don't want that to end up being a thing that I talk about constantly. I've talked about it enough. People understand, and it's just like, yeah, I'm glad. I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better that there are people out there who like know what I'm talking about, know what I'm going through, and actually believe me, which is very important because so many people would not. Even when there were people who would, like, and that would like really help me in person. But it's just like I'd go back and it would just still feel like that's not real until I'd go back. And it took a little while for it to really internally sink in that, like, oh wow, there are people who do care. That's really awesome. Even when I would know it both in the moment and outside of the moment, there were definitely times when it would be very crushing and wouldn't feel that way. Um, and luckily at this point, I'm just like, wow. Even when that's the case, I know that there are people who care. So I guess I don't really feel like there's as much of a need to try and prove it, I guess. So, like, I can just be a bit more confident and stuff. This channel has really helped me in my confidence, because there are times where, like, I'd feel very confident, um, but that would only just appear here and there, and I know that I would have it in me, but it wouldn't be as good as it is now. And I know that there are so many ways that I can keep improving myself and trying to work to better myself, because every time I think, hey, I think I got something down pat, nope. So you're always learning new stuff about the world, your life, but there's a certain level of understanding the world that, like, really helps you to be able to function. And well, it's always important to never stay stagnant. You just gotta keep working on improving yourself, keep learning about the world. There's always so much more out there to understand and experience, and, like, you learn to get through it and everything. And I appreciate everybody who's been here by my side, and I will continue to be here for all of you daily, regardless of however the videos will end up being. I've been doing JonTron videos, and part of me was like, oh, are people going to be annoyed that I'm doing a bunch of JonTron videos? No, 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 no. They are some of the best performing things ever. Makes sense because, like, my channel's numbers doubled from, let's just say, roughly 1,500 to 3,000. So it doubled because of the JonTron compilation. So about half my audience is a fan of the JonTron stuff, and it's just like, hey, making the memes is perfect because it's a combination of me and a combination of JonTron stuff, as opposed to just the compilation. And it's just like, I can do this, and it's what the people want. I want to make stuff that's both for me and for the people. I enjoy trolling the people sometimes, but I'm also cautious and careful about, like, trying not to make something that nobody would be interested in. Like, that's one of the reasons why the Dweller's Empty Path series is slightly more on the back burners, because that's something I want to do, but not everybody is as into it as I am. So it's like, okay, well, I'm still going to play this, but I'll play it a little bit less often here and there, whenever I feel like it. But because I don't like just jumping on, like, a trend or just jumping on a meme. It has to be something that I want to do. So it's something I want to make as well. So I'm not going to just jump on every single meme. If I have an idea for something, or I can make it my own, or it's just something that I enjoy in general, then I will do it. And hopefully it's popular. But I will make memes over things that are old, that I just never got a chance to make in the past, here and there, if I feel like it. So, I mean, I like the fact that this is a variety channel, that I can just do whatever. Part of that's out of necessity, and part of it's out of me just wanting to make stuff that I make. I hope that my stuff is able to inspire people to be like, hey, this channel is garbage. Maybe I can make something better than this if he's able to succeed doing that. So, like, I hope I can kind of inspire people to make stuff and, like, keep creating, because I know how hard it is sometimes when you end up creating, and it's just like, you see something that's so perfect, and you feel like you'll never be able to achieve that level of, like, perfection, and it just feels very defeating. That would happen to me a lot. It still happens every so often to me, where sometimes you see something great and it's inspiring and it makes you wanna keep improving. And then there are other things that just kind of feel a little crushing, where it's just like, this is so perfect that I will never be able to do this. And it feels very defeating. And sometimes it depends on your mood that day. And sometimes it's just however, well, mostly it's depending on your mood. And sometimes it depends on the thing, which is part of why, like, I'll enjoy watching a show that's bad. And also another reason why I like to play bad video games and stuff like that, because, like, it'll help me to appreciate the good stuff. Because I think some of the some annoying things are the ones that are mediocre, where it's just like, this doesn't really have too much soul to it, and it's also kind of generic. Which is also something that you can, like, use to study and be careful to figure out. Where it's like, hey, I think that's part of why, like, I'd feel very inspired to create after seeing, like, clips from Family Guy, where it's just like, this show is not very good. Sometimes I will laugh from just its sheer stupidity, so it's not like it's something that I would feel no emotion towards whatsoever. That would feel worse. But it's something that, like, makes me feel inspired. Like, if this thing can have $1 million budget and be on TV for years, then whatever garbage I make should probably do at least okay. And it makes me feel like I can actually make stuff. So I'm very happy that there are things. Not everything ever needs to be perfect. It's important to try and strive for perfection. It's good to know, like, your flaws, but it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, as long as it's meaningful and fun and just is worth enjoying. That's the most important thing, because that's why we play games. That's why we enjoy media, to just feel an experience. And it doesn't have to necessarily be perfect, as long as it's meaningful to you. Let's try this section of the grand stages. I have not done this yet, so I'll give this a shot. I don't think I'm going to get all 60 of the stars. I like that there are the bonus missions for just getting points in general. So you technically can go without getting some of the stars, which is good. But you need a lot of the stars for these. This is going to be rough. Let's give this a shot. I guess I'll go with them. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I got kicked out of the Grand Champions League. I was only able to make it through the first round, and that was it. Messed up. Or did I even get through the first round? No, I think I lost in the first round this time. I was just able to get into it. Yes. Okay. Also, I like this. The quick equip treasures, fantastic addition. Love this. I love that fix. That is fantastic. Good on you, Dev Sisters. That was a good change. We win. We won. I still love doing the voices and everything. Oh, again, like, in the future, where, it spelled out the words where, W-E-R-E. Is it going to say something else later? I don't know. But you know, sometimes the burner will go on downstairs and everything. Stuff like that is out of necessity, just because it's stuff that I can't usually help the way that things turn out. I'll try and do a couple of extra takes here and there, like when I'm doing a skit, but most of the time I don't have, I just don't have time. Most of the time I just have to do everything one take and then just roll with it. So that'll end up happening every so often, where it'll go off and there's nothing I can really do about that. And that's the kind of thing that, like, if I am able to improve the show in the future, that's something that I wouldn't have happening. That's the kind of thing I would avoid. But I also don't, like, if I am able to improve the show in the future, then, like, I would hope to be able to still have it feel, like, cozier and just simple. A, for just the fun of it, because I want it to be fun, and B, because like you see so many channels that are so sterile and clean, and it's like the 4K video and stuff like that, and the best lighting and everything, and it's just like sometimes it's just fun to just record a thing. That's one of the cool things about YouTube. It's something that I love about YouTube, despite its flaws. Like there's so much good about it, and like when you're running a service, I think it's important to, be careful about stuff like that. You're gonna want to try and improve so this way it helps everybody to be as good as you can be. But I know my strengths, I know my limitations, and I know that like I'm not gonna be perfect. I know that even if I decided to try and put in a lot of work to get like the best quality of things, first off, so many people do that, which is good, but it feels very hollow if like it's just that kind of stuff, I feel like this is much more of my niche, just kind of making stuff that feels much lower budget and is just fun to make. And it's like, even if I am able to focus more on the channel, it's still gonna look rather low budget, because I feel like that's the kind of thing that's just enjoyable. Because I feel like something can be really good even if it doesn't look like the highest quality, most perfect of things. I don't know. Sort of like how Club Penguin looks kind of lumpy in the earlier days, and other things were very, very clean and Disneyfied, and like it's all still wonderful. But if I'm gonna make something, I'd prefer it to look sort of more like the earlier Club Penguin style than later. I think that's mostly what I'm trying to get at. Where it's like, sometimes there are some things that don't necessarily need to be perfect. I hope that there are things that are like really good, but I'm never going to be able to make like an incredible masterpiece or anything. So I've decided to embrace the fact that, I'm pretty mediocre, and I want to make it a unique sort of meh, a unique sort of bad, where this way it's not boring, or it if I end up being boring, I'd want it to be relaxing boring, not a frustrating slog to get through kind of boring. Something like that. I think one of the worst things that you could be is like, I remember seeing there was this Simpsons hour-long special, and or like it was a two-parter played back-to-back or something. No, I think it was an hour-long special. It was apparently called The Great Fatsby, and I remember watching it live when when it first aired, and I never felt more like I had wasted an hour watching something than I did with that. Well, maybe I have, and I just can't think of it. But it's one of the things that my mind goes to, where it's technically not the worst of things, but it added nothing to my life to feel like it was worth the time investment. That it was just awful. It was just felt like it was draining my soul for how nothing that it was. And that's the kind of bad mediocrity that I feel is out there. Whereas like I don't want to be like that. I want to make something that's just pleasant and charming and is able to make people smile. And that's what I hope for. That's what I strive to do. I know that I'll never be perfect, but not everybody's always able to appreciate like a lot of work that goes into things. There are some channels that like I know from a production standpoint there's so much work. There are moments in people's reviews and videos where like in order to get a single shot, they'd have to spend like hours and like tons of money and resources on something. They're like those shots where like somebody destroys like a cartridge or something, like think about how long that thing has lasted in the world, and had been around only for it to be destroyed for a video, then thrown out, and the chunks being like in a landfill somewhere if it's not saved. And like everybody who had been in the process of like shipping it over, all of that, there's so much work goes into making like a scene of somebody smashing something for just a few moments on a YouTube video that you'll forget. And it's just like, wow, it's a little piece of the world that was like destroyed for a gag. And you know, it's funny. Sometimes they're memorable, sometimes they're not as much. That's just one thing that's came to my mind. There's other things that I mean, there are moments where like I forget, there was somebody who I had watched who like rotoscoped a few seconds, and like the amount of extra effort that went into just doing that for the heck of it, that people are that like most people who watch it will just be like, oh, that looks weird, haha, that's quirky, and then just move on. Like, it'll only be appreciated by a few people, and that's why it's important to make stuff that's really meaningful, because like some people are going to be able to appreciate it, but a vast majority of people don't necessarily notice that stuff. And it's like, if you know that you're not even going to be able to get to that perfect of a level, then just having fun in the stuff that you make is important. And you know, people definitely care, but I feel like a lot of people have in mind one thing that they feel that they would like, and then they see it and they enjoy it and then they get tired of it, as opposed to like something that's very meaningful and connects to them, where it's just like they will enjoy the full experience of everything. And it's just like, sometimes you don't need perfection as long as it's something that will make you happy. As long as you feel happy, it doesn't always necessarily have to be perfect. Like, I don't know however long this video will be, but I feel like there's stuff that I've made that's like, it's really pretty low quality, and there's other stuff that other people have made, and there's plenty of people who are just happy with both. And it's like, I don't really have the resources to make something better. I feel like I can make something a little bit better if I spend a lot of extra effort on it, but it would be a lot rougher on me, and it would end up being a lot less fun. And like, a lot of people just like things that they enjoy, and then they'll move on to something else, and it's like something that somebody will work super hard on, and it'll end up being like less time than this, versus somebody who will watch this for about the same amount of time. And if somebody ends up getting like the same amount of enjoyment, and it's like, you know, it's okay sometimes to not have to be perfect. I think it's okay, because there are so many things that I'll look at and I'll be like, oh, I wish I was able to make something as good as this. Instead, I make this trash. But there are, you know, like the two cakes analogy, where it's like, oh, this cake that I've made will never be as good as this other person's cake. And then somebody sees it and it's just like, yay, two cakes. And sometimes it's just making stuff that's nice is nice, and you can just enjoy both. It's good to know that, you know, some things are definitely better than others, and it's important to respect that. And that can make consumption of things, consumption of like media, more rewarding for certain people. But there are other people who like don't really mind either way. They just like a thing that they like, and it's okay to not have to be perfect all the time. You can just have fun doing things that you like. So I hope this video has been fun, or at least interesting, rather. I'm not sure how much fun this video is, honestly. It's just kind of me talking a bit more earnestly, less about jokes and whatnot. But just a couple of things that were on my mind that I feel like sharing while being able to finish a couple more of these runs, getting a few more items, because my goodness, is there a lot of grinding in these cookie run stages. There's a lot of time you gotta sink into this game. I can't do all of it. I was able to do more before, but like there are some things where it's like I gotta just cut my losses. I'm not gonna be able to get everything, because if I do, it'll end up becoming more stressful than it is fun. And it's like I gotta know my limits. And at least, even if there are so many things that, like, I think I'm saying something, like, better than I do, or I come off as very awkward, or it's, like, very obvious that something is wrong, but I'm just too stupid to realize, oh, wait a minute, there's like, this could be misinterpreted wrongly, or it's like, hey, I'm not as clear as I'd like to be. I want to be able to say at least I know who I am, and I know I'm the kind of person who wants to try and improve and be better about stuff. And when I don't know a thing, I like to try and research about it through, like, credible sources, and just try to improve. So I want to hear what you folks think, if there's any issues that, like, I could fix, and if it's something that I either can't fix, or it's just part of who I am, that, like, yeah, the channel isn't going to be perfect. This isn't running at 60 FPS, and it won't be. That's not something I will fix. So if it's an issue like that, I'm sorry, this just isn't going to be the channel for you. But if it's something that, like, oh, you didn't take this into consideration, I think it's an important thing to know this. It's okay to understand where you're coming from, because it's important not to be, like, angry either. I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, don't be mean to me, because I can listen. I've had to take a lot of jerks in my lifetime, so I can roll with the best of them. A mean comment here or a dislike, it's not, that doesn't really hurt me. There are things in life that actually hurt, that take a lot more priority, and it's like, that doesn't, I don't care. But what I do care about is, making sure that the people who I do care about are happy about it. So, like, a random dislike from somebody who's trolling, it's just stupid. That means nothing to me. But if it's a dislike from somebody who, like, whose input is like something I'd value much more, somebody who's like a fan, who's just like, hey, I noticed something that was a little off, or, like, I didn't quite understand what you meant by this, can you please explain? And I will try to explain. Sometimes I'm just stupid, or I misremember something, or, like, I'm not all with it, because I'll just be responding fast. I like to try and respond to as many comments as I can. Oftentimes I won't be able to respond to the ones that are, like, reply to a reply. Those don't show up as much in the notifications, or in the comments community tab thingy. But I like to try and respond to people, even if not all of the responses are always the most coherent of things. I like to try and make people feel like they've been noticed, because that's why I do the channel. I do it for the people who watch, and I do it for me, because it's something that I want to do, and I do it to try and just be there for people, to try and just say, hey, you matter, you're important, I'm doing this for you. I don't know who you are, but somebody out there cares. Keep going, keep doing your best, and I try and do what I can. So I think I'm getting kind of tired right now. My voice was able to hold up a bit better than I expected, which I'm glad about. We're gonna receive this little bonus gobbledygoo, and I'm gonna leave this here. Thank you, friends, for listening, but I believe it's that time again. If you like what I do, don't be shy to give a thumbs up. Have a pleasant day, everyone, and this is Handington, signing off. Bye! We'll see the Dragon's Valley reward. Okie doke.